As Zelda fans, we've always heard that the Ocarina of Time is a special artifact with powers that no other instrument has in the entire series. But is this really true? Because if you really look into it, then you will see that in many ways it just doesn't make sense. This ocarina is not as powerful as most people think, and today we will look into that. Now, the origins of this instrument are unknown, since its history is only briefly spoken of in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. But Princess Zelda does mention that the sacred instrument has been secretly passed down for centuries within the royal family of Hyrule, kept safe from those who would exploit its powers to cause others harm. So it's a treasured heirloom of the royal family and will only be given to the one who will open the door of time to retrieve the Master Sword, which Link did during the events of Ocarina of Time, in order to stop Ganondorf from taking over Hyrule, which didn't go as well as planned, but hey. Now, according to some in-game sources, this ocarina is full of endless mysterious powers, and it serves many hidden purposes which only a selected few can truly uncover. Even in later titles like Majora's Mask, we saw Link use it to bend and manipulate time, allowing him to defeat Majora's Mask and save Termina from impending doom. All of this really makes it seem like this instrument is incredibly powerful and special in a way. It is even suggested that it's made from time shift stones, an ore that was excavated and refined in a Lanayru mining facility that has magical properties, because it can manipulate time when struck. So yeah, with the Ocarina of Time most likely being made out of that material, it must be special, right? Well, maybe not, because it could also be that it's nothing more than a placebo effect. There are a number of reasons why this might be the case if you look at how this ocarina is used, how magic works in the games, and what you can do with other instruments. It just seems like they are a conduit for all the magic that all the Hylians have, especially powerful ones like Link and Zelda. In the past, Hylians were able to wield magic of considerable might, but over time, that ability has faded. Now, some of these are still seen in the games. For example, Hylian people can use their pointed ears to receive special messages from the gods themselves. And they also have the ability to send telepathic messages to other Hylians across time and space. This is an ability that continues to get passed on to their children, their children's children, and so on. Sahasrahla and an incarnation of Princess Zelda displayed this particular ability in A Link to the Past, for example. And it seems like instruments allow Hylians to use all kinds of magic, even if the instrument itself isn't magical at all. There are multiple examples of this throughout the games, so let's look at a few. The first example I have is the goddess harp that was seen in Skyward Sword. Zelda takes the harp with her to various temples across the land and uses it to reawaken her memories of her life as Hylia. But when Link has it, he just uses it to activate some machinery. And even some of the more magical feats could work just because Fi is involved. So by the looks of it, the harp itself is not too important. It's the person who uses it and the kind of magic they can channel through it with their intense focus. Now, the second point I got involves the normal flute from A Link to the Past and the wind ocarina from the Minish Cap. In these games, you can summon a bird to take you to another location in Hyrule, which can be super handy during your adventure. Now, some would say that this is a magical act, but in the end, it isn't. You're just calling a bird to fly you away. However, in A Link to the Past, we do see some real magic using the flute, because you set the bird free in the weather vane, allowing you to use this ability. Now, this is clearly a form of magic. You turn an inanimate object into a living being, a bit like we see in classic fairy tales like Pinocchio. However, the surprising thing is, the original owner of the flute couldn't do this, which shows that this ocarina isn't the key to its magic, but actually the person using it. The magic of the Hylian Link, who is more powerful than most, allows him to summon these creatures and sort of create them, using this normal flute to channel his magical powers to perform all these borderline miracles. And now we move on to my final example, the Ocarina of Time itself. While many claim it is magical, there are many hints in the games that point toward the player of the ocarina being more important than the instrument itself. First, the proof that is seen in Ocarina of Time, which actually starts with its ability of time travel, which doesn't always make sense. When Link has the Ocarina of Time, he can use it for a number of things, like opening temples, teleporting, communicating with others, removing obstacles, summoning storms, and changing the time of day. Now, when I mention all these powers and magical feats, it makes it sound like the Ocarina of Time has immense powers. But there's one problem. It has one other power that Link can't use for some reason: time travel. At the end of the game, Zelda's able to send Link back in time using it. But during the game itself, you are never able to pull this off, which already shows that not all magical abilities are necessarily because of the Ocarina. And don't worry, we will discuss Majora's Mask after this. But this isn't all. I bet some of you will say that you can manipulate time using this Ocarina with the Sun Song. But there's one problem. You can also do this with the normal fairy Ocarina that isn't necessarily magical and certainly doesn't possess special time manipulation powers. So really, if you look at it all, it seems like this instrument, made out of precious time shift stones, is a bit of a placebo. You can perform very similar feats with any other Ocarina that isn't made out of some special material. But what about Majora's Mask then? Here Link can time travel, just like Zelda did in the previous game. So why is that? Well, in the end, the devil is in the details. Sure, Link is able to go back to the first day of the cycle again and again, but there's a reason for it, and it's not necessarily the Ocarina of Time. When you get the instrument back from the Skull Kid, something quite special is said during the cutscene. Zelda says this after teaching you the Song of Time. The goddess of time is protecting you. If you play the Song of Time, she will aid you. And then after the cutscene, Tattle even screams, "Somebody, anybody, goddess of time, help us please, we need more time!" So by the looks of it, this only works because Zelda blessed Link as well as this song to allow him to time travel. And it is often said in the series that Zelda is actually the Sage of Time. And even Tattle pleads to the gods for help, which probably also helped. So I think that time travel only works in this game because of these two reasons. The Ocarina of Time isn't as powerful as most people think. Time travel is only possible because of the goddess of time. I mean, the instrument does nothing when Skull Kid uses it, which is another great argument. Meanwhile, Link is able to do this because he is a Hylian and a chosen hero that has a special connection with the gods and sages. We even see this in the game when Link puts on different masks. Because when he is a Goron, Zora, or Deku, he does not use the Ocarina of Time. The game even says this because these instruments have their own name. For example, the Pipes of Awakening that the Deku uses. And these can still be used to play the Song of Time or Song of Double Time effectively. So I would say that all these points show that magical instruments are a bit overhyped in the Legend of Zelda series. The thing that matters the most is the user, and how they channel magical energy through music. Another great example of this is seen in Twilight Princess when you use the Howling Stones. As long as Link listens to the sounds and howls with a focus, he can create a magical link with the hero Shade. And he doesn't need some magical ocarina or harp to do this. He just needs to follow a song and focus his magical energy. However, some of the powers seen throughout the series aren't even necessarily magical. Instead, it's science that allows these things to work. Some good examples of this are Epona's song. You can train all kinds of animals to respond to sound or song. It is extremely common for people to use a whistle when training a dog, especially for specific jobs like hunting. And using a simple structure of rewarding the dog when it responds in the way you want to the whistle is super effective, which is exactly what was done with Epona in a lot of the Zelda games. But this isn't the only example. The same is seen with birds in A Link to the Past and Twilight Princess. A grass whistle is clearly not magical, but still it can summon a trained hawk to aid you during your quest. And even in your wolf form, this works. But this isn't all. Even getting milk from the cows at Lon Lon Ranch using Epona's song makes a lot of sense in the real world. Multiple studies have shown that music helps them relax, and this increases milk yields quite dramatically, up to 10%. And they love all kinds of stuff, from Beethoven Beethoven to the Beatles. Multiple universities, like the Lancaster University, looked into this. And even when I worked at a dairy farm around the age of 12, I noticed that there was music playing in the barn for the cows. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that you get milk when you play this relaxing song. So not all music in the games is even necessarily magical. And all of this shows that musical magic in the Legend of Zelda series isn't necessarily as simple as most people thought. By the looks of it, it's not tied to a specific instrument, and a lot of these probably just have some sort of placebo effect on the user. They just give someone the confidence that they can channel certain powers. And as we have seen, some of them are even based on science and not even on magic. In the end, the powers have always been deep inside of them, and using music, they are finally able to harness it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this short little theory. My editor came up with it, and I thought it was an interesting one. So I rewrote his script a bit, added some bits and bobs and whatnot. And here we are, Bob's your uncle. I hope you liked this little video. I love you, kisses, leave ideas below, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye!